Okie dokie, I'm breathing heavy because I forgot to turn on my mic and I'm redoing this conversation in the middle of my training. But I got a question from a viewer, like if you're a beginner, is 3 sets and 10 reps, is it a good style of training? And simple answer, yes, of course it's a good style of training, When you're a beginner, no matter what you do, you're gonna make progress. Whether it's 3x10 squats or pull-ups or tuck holds, in seconds then, or push-ups, whatever, if that's challenging for you as a beginner, right, you're gonna make progress. The most important thing that you should worry about is not your sets and reps, it's the fact that you're progressing. So let's say you do 3x10 sets of pull-ups, right, or tuck front lever holds in seconds. Let's say that you do that and you do it over and over and over again. Eventually you're gonna plateau, right? Because your body is already used to the workload. Your body is used to 3 sets of 10 reps. However, if you keep in mind that you have to progress, right, then you can keep progressing, right? If you make the exercise more difficult, or you do more seconds of holds, you do more sets, you do more volume in total, you take less rest. If you progress in any of those areas, then you're gonna keep progressing. So to answer your question, yes, 3x10 is definitely a good choice, right? But make sure that in some area you are progressing. So if you want to keep doing 3 sets of 10 reps on an exercise, or 3 sets of 10 seconds on an exercise, make sure that you are either progressing in difficulty. For example, do a tuck front lever with like 1 kilo on your feet, or do a pull-up with some weight in the backpack, right? Or you can reduce the rest time, or you can do your training more frequently in a week, more times in 1 week. So instead of training 2 times a week, you can now up it to 3 times a week, right? But you have to progress in some area, and that's gonna get you from the beginner stage to an intermediate stage. So I hope that answers your question. And yeah, sorry, I'm a bit confused because I already did this stuff, but now I'm gonna do 1 set of 45 seconds in the front lever. I'm gonna use assistance with the green band, so basically it's gonna feel lighter, but at the same time I'm gonna add weight. Now the reason I do this is because for me, the 45-second hold unassisted, it's something that in my mind I am not able to do. It's a big plateau that, like, it's actually like a mental block for me. And if I try to do a 45 seconds unassisted front lever, right, before I even start, I already failed in my mind. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm probably good for 35 or 40 seconds, and then I actually fail there. So by using assistance and also adding weight, I'm kind of making the load ambiguous, and I don't have to worry about that. I just have to worry about getting to those 45 seconds, going as hard as possible. So that's what I'm gonna do today. And yeah, let's get started, or let's play the video because this already happened. All right, so that was quite a set to the limit. I broke down at 40 seconds just about, and by the time I got to 45, you really couldn't call it a front lever anymore. But by hanging on to dear life for those 5 extra seconds, you're upping the intensity quite a lot. So very good set nonetheless. And to be honest, I really don't know what I'm doing at the moment, right? I have no clue of how difficult this is compared to an actual front lever, because yes, I'm using assistance, but at this point, there's 4 kilos on my hips, there's 3 kilos on my feet. Like, I really don't know anymore how hard this is compared to the front lever. So, I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. The most important thing at the moment is just that I'm progressing, right? These sets and reps that I'm doing, these exercises I'm doing, they're not let's say common theory, right? You're not gonna, buy a book in the library or a PDF online and someone have someone tell you that you should do assistant weighted front lever for 45 seconds. However, that's not the important part, right? The important part is not how many sets and reps you're doing necessarily. It's whether you are, trying your best and progressing. So for me, this is progressing because last time I did the same with assistants, right? And I had less weight on my body. So now I did it with more weight, and yes, the form was a bit worse, but still, I got there and I progressed. That's the most important part. In the beginning, I was doing these sits, assistant with a green band, no weight on my body at all, right? So from there, I've definitely progressed. Even though I don't know how difficult it is compared to the front lever anymore, that's okay. I know that I'm progressing, right? So now let's move on to some EMOM. I'm gonna do 5 sets of EMOM every minute on the minute. It means of front lever holds, and basically go from 11 seconds to 15. So every set I will increase the hold by 1 second. And this is just to build some work capacity, right? To build some volume in the holds, because if you want endurance, you need to endure, right? If you want front lever endurance, you need to endure the front lever. So for me, I'm gonna build up a lot of, volume in the holds, build that work capacity. Higher work capacity means that you can do more work, right? Do more training, get more holds, and in the end, get a better front lever hold, a longer front lever hold. So let's get started. Alrighty, so front lever holds, EMOM style, done. And boy, did it feel hard. I mean, the front lever holds felt harder than the assisted weighted front lever, but also they felt way harder than normally in general. Like normally if I do 11 seconds in the front lever, it feels light, right? I don't have any trouble at all. But this time I was already tired from before. So we might be onto here something. I might be at the point that the assisted weighted front lever is harder than the actual front lever, but I don't know for sure, and that's giving me mental freedom, that's kind of the point. But anyway, this EMOM round was very challenging, and normally I would say, let's call it quits here, but today I just kind of want to have that mental edge, I want to rest up and have another go for a second round of 5 sets of EMOM, exact same style, 11 to 15 seconds, and just see if I can do it. I was already at my limit here, right? I was struggling to get 14, 15 seconds. I was already struggling at 13 seconds, to be honest. But if I can do this one more time, right? If I can rest up and do this one more time, it's going to give me, so much of a mental advantage, which is also important. So yes, of course, it's going to be very hard on my back muscles and I'm going to have to recover. But for now, I think this is good, right? So I'm going to try to do one extra round and see where it brings me. Come on, boys. Can't quit now. Goku's fighting. Alrighty, so front lever holds done, absolutely fucking dead. 45 second holds and then 2 rounds of EMOM. In fact, I only did holds today, right? So what I'm gonna do now is some front lever pressing sets, 5x5 in EMOM style, or at least I'm gonna try. Because, I'm a big fan of isometrics, as you can tell by today's training, but I'm an even bigger fan of mixing them up with some dynamic stuff as well, right? Isometrics will get you very strong, but I feel like, you really reap the benefit when you also do some movements, some moving exercises in your training, such as the front lever press or the front lever pull-up, whatever, right? Only doing the holds is gonna get you stronger, but doing holds and then also doing some other exercises, like as kind of accessories, I would say, those are gonna get you the strongest. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm hoping the 5x5 will not be too difficult because I do think the intensity was there already today. I don't want to overdo it, right? But some front lever presses as kind of a cool down, it will definitely feel good. So let's go. All right, boys and girls, it could be that the police will show up at my door because I do believe it will be quite illegal on how pumped I am right now. Holy shit. Like, this is insane. Yeah, that's just fucking unbelievable. Especially with those presses at the end. Very nice. So now I do feel like doing one more set, perhaps two, of some light tricep extensions, just to get something different in my my stomach, in my system today than front lever only. I mean, I'm definitely not against front lever, but spicing things up, kind of like the cherry on top of today. Some tricep extensions, just like last time, to be honest. They felt really good, so let's just do that again. All right, and just like that, the workout is over. And whether you are doing one exercise or 5 exercises, 2 sets or 20, right? It doesn't really matter as long as you are progressing. That's the most important part. If you are progressing, then everything is fair game. You can do whatever you want. You can do what you think is fun, because you can be progressing as much as you want. If it's something that you don't care about, right? If it's an exercise that you don't care about, training that you don't care about, you're not gonna keep doing it. So the most important factor in training is 1, that you enjoy it, and then 2, that you can progress, because you're gonna get even extra enjoyment out of that progression. When you're a beginner, I think a lot of people start out motivated, going balls to the wall from the start, right? All out, and then they get demotivated because they're gonna be sore as shit and not wanna go to the gym anymore, or not wanna train anymore, right? And I think it's a mistake, because this is not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. It's more than a marathon. Ideally, you're gonna be training your entire life until you're 80 or 90 or 100 years old, right? That's the ideal situation. So you have a long way to go. You have to enjoy this for a long while. So don't restrict yourself to set patterns, but also, learn to enjoy yourself and learn to progress. In the beginning, you don't have to go hard. The only mindset that you need is to go a little harder than last time, In the beginning, your first training as a beginner should be quite easy, in my opinion, right? You should feel like, wait, what the fuck, am I done already, right? That should be kind of the mindset. Like, you should have such a difficulty in your training, such an intensity in your training, that you're left wanting more. Because if you're left wanting more, that's an automatic ticket to the next training to keep you going, right? And in the next training, you can go a bit harder and a bit harder. And by holding that mindset of going a little bit harder than last time, shout out to Greg Doucet, you're gonna basically eventually come into a situation where your training is actually gonna be challenging. At first, it doesn't have to be challenging, but by one-upping yourself time and time again, right? Eventually, it's gonna be challenging, and that's at that point, by that point where you're now having to put in some effort to better yourself, right? By that time, you're already gonna be locked in. You're already gonna think training is fun because you've already progressed, right? And now to progress even more, you're addicted to the progression. Now you're going to have to put in the effort. Now you're going to train harder, right? That's kind of the situation you want to create for yourself as a beginner, right? As you move from beginner to intermediate, getting progress is going to be harder, but it's going to be more rewarding as well. It's kind of addicting, right? So in the beginning, do whatever makes you progress, really, and do what's fun for you. And don't be bounded by all the rules and complex information on the internet. So that's it for today's training. Very successful. I'm gonna have to recover quite a lot from this one, but it was hella worth it. So I'll see you in the next training, which is gonna be, of course, tomorrow for a leg day. And that's gonna be quite a lot of fun as well. So I'll see you then. And now I'm gonna have some breakfast.